It has been just over a year since I did my very first Webinarkit review video. Since then, you guys have been in the comments, in my DMs, asking me what I think about the new features, if I have revisited it, and what do I think about where Webinarkit is now. If you're one of those people that has been in the comments, in my DMs, this video is for you because we are going to take another look 1 year later at what I think of Webinarkit. So make sure you stick around to get all the tea.
I attract money, wealth is in my reach. I got everything I want and everything I need. I keep my mind open, abundance overflows. I budget right and I know where all my money goes. I am debt free and money works for me. Money in my sleep, a magnet for prosperity. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
What up, Kingdom Builders? Welcome back to my channel. I am Ebony Evaughn, your favorite business coach in these internet streets. I coach coaches, course creators, and online service providers on how to turn their skills, talents, and expertise into profitable online coaching programs. Welcome to Soul Stuck Land. This is my internet home where I help you to go from confused to the cash generating boss that we both know you are meant to be. Now, today's video is a follow-up video to the previous Webinarkit video that I've done in the past. If you are not familiar with my channel, you are new here. In the past, I did 2 videos about Webinarkit. I did the first initial Webinarkit review video, which basically just kind of gave my honest feedback and opinion on what I thought about the software. At the time, it was fairly new. It had just came out. They were offering a one-time deal where instead of paying a monthly or annual fee like most webinar platforms or services that you'll come across, it was a one-time investment. So because of that, I decided to do a review about it. You guys have been in the comments telling me how much you appreciated that. You've also been asking me to do a follow-up because they have made a lot of changes, a lot of upgrades, and we're going to get into those upgrades in this video. And I'm going to give you a review of what I think about the platform, where it is now, if I like it, if I think there still needs some changes and improvements. We're going to get into all of that in this video. But before we can do that, we are going to have to head over to Webinarkit, okay? And so you guys can set up a webinar with me and start setting up a webinar with me. Okay, so as you can see right now, I am at my Webinarkit dashboard, sign in, and I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. And then we're going to start building out our webinar. As you can see, like I mentioned in previous videos, I never used Webinarkit. I did pay the one-time fee, and I came in and set up some webinars just to kind of test it out and get a feel for it, but I never actually used it. So we're going to go ahead and set up a brand new webinar that I just did and see how this goes. So I'm going to start from scratch just by hitting new webinar. This is really weird because I paid for Webinarkit Pro, which gave you the ability to do your video hosting inside of Webinarkit, but it's not giving me that option. It just says use video URL. What happens? Oh, okay. Interesting. That's a little bit confusing, but for whatever reason, when I toggle this, it does go to use uploaded video. So now I have the option to add a video. You can see these other 2 videos that I've uploaded in the past. All right, so let me grab my video. I recorded a webinar I did a training live in Webinar Jam, and so I'm just going to take that video that I edited and I cut it down a little bit. It was like an hour and a half, and I kind of trimmed some of the stuff out to make it just about a little over an hour. So I'm going to upload this video into Webinarkit. I'm waiting for the video to upload. I don't know what's happening. Alright, so let me try this without my screen record and see if that works, and if not, I'm gonna have to contact support, guys. As you guys can tell, I was completely on the struggle bus trying to get my marketing workshop video to upload inside of Webinarkit. I tried to upload this video several times. I kept getting the same error message telling me to contact support. So that is what I did. I did submit a support ticket to them, and after a couple hours, I hadn't got a response. I ain't saying I'm impatient, but your girl got things to do, okay? So after I didn't get a response to my support ticket through email, I did go over to their Facebook page and I sent them a nice little message like, hey, I submitted a support ticket. Can you guys help me out? And now it's been a few hours since I sent that message on Facebook. So I still haven't heard back from them. So I decided to just go an alternative route. I know it's like, girl, you can't be impatient. They got other customers. They got stuff to do. Who am I to think that the world just revolves around me, right? I get it. I understand that people are busy. I don't even know where Webinarkit is actually based out of. It could be in another country. It could be the middle of the night where they are. All I'm saying is I didn't get a response and I got tired of waiting. So what I did was, there is an option to basically just add a link through a URL if your video is hosted somewhere else. So I do also use Amazon Web Service. So I just took my video, uploaded it to AWS, and then I copied that link over into Webinarkit just so that I could keep the process moving and get this video uploaded. I'm actually kind of running behind. I should have had this done like yesterday. I was supposed to be promoting this webinar for the entire month, and you can see we are already on day 2 and your girl hasn't even set the webinar up yet. But let's get back into setting up the webinar just using the link. So adding the URL and moving on with the process. So we are back and we are going to try this again. So you can see down here I have untitled webinar. This is the one that I started on that we couldn't get the video to upload. So now what I'm doing is, since I couldn't get this to upload, I'm just going to toggle this back off, use the URL instead. And so I'm just going to copy and paste the object URL from Amazon Web Service over here. So instead of actually being able to host this in Webinarkit Pro, like it said, it wasn't working. So I'm just using my AWS to host the video, and I'm just going to post the URL here in Webinarkit. So let me grab this link over here and paste this in like so and save. This screen is looking a little bit different already from what I saw in the past. I don't remember having to toggle on whether or not sign in was required. So I added this first line where it says name. It says that this is internal. It is, no one sees this name right here but me. But right here where it says title, this is public facing. So this is what registrants will see when they actually come to the webinar page. So with this one, I want to add a little bit more sauce to it. I'm still going to call it marketing on purpose, how to get new clients, make more money, and hustle less. This is just a working title. I may change this later. Okay, and everything looks good, so I am going to keep it going. This is interesting. This definitely looks a lot different. Before, this was all just kind of in one CSS, like the whole cascade was just all one thing. I do like the fact that now it is broken out, because this always made more sense to me than how it was in the previous version, because it was like once you made one change to the registration or thank you, like your code, your layout, the design, everything had to have the same color and everything, because it was all together. But it looks like now they have broken it out into 3 different ones, which is a lot better. I appreciate that, Webinarkit. The next really big change that I noticed that I was actually really surprised and thoroughly pleased with was the fact that there were way more templates and they were actually customized for conversions when it came to your registration page as well as your thank you page as well. So if you remember my first review video, I talked about how I did purchase the upgrade for Webinarkit Pro, which allowed you access to be able to do the video hosting. It gave you access to access more templates for your registration and thank you pages. And in the original video, there was only 4 options of different registration templates that you could choose from, and they were all very simplistic. They were not optimized for conversions. It was just kind of like you could either put the picture on the left or you could put the picture on the right? You could have the sign up form on the left or you could have it on the right. It literally was just those 4 options. And with the new updated version of Webinarkit, they actually have, I want to say, about 10 or so different registration templates that you can use in order to set up the registration page for your webinar, which is a really big improvement. And looking at the templates, I wasn't just absolutely crazy about any of the registration templates, but they were a lot cleaner, sleeker, more modern, and they were slightly more optimized for conversions than the ones in the past. I feel like there can still be some improvements as far as being able to change the way the layout is so that you can increase the conversion rate. But nonetheless, they are functional. They're 10 times better than what they were in the past, and I was thoroughly surprised and pleased by the change and the increase in number of templates that were available as well. Also, with the thank you page, there was multiple templates. I think before there was only like 1 option for a thank you page, and now in this version I believe there is 4 templates, or maybe 3. I'm not for sure. I'll throw a little screen grab up here to confirm. It was 3 or 4, which was nice as well. I like just the modern version, nothing too fancy, because I am using this for an on-demand webinar, so I'm less worried about the thank you page because it's on demand and instant access, versus if it was like I was planning this webinar and then scheduling it out for a specific day and time, or if it ran at a certain day over and over again. I would put a little bit more time into the thank you page because I know that there's a next step, right? People have to actually save this to their calendar and know what to do next. But since this is on demand for my particular marketing webinar that I'm doing, I'm not worried about all that. Simplistic is fine because it's instant access anyways. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know down in the comments and I will be glad to clarify that. I know when it comes to webinar, there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of information. So if you need help or clarification, just drop your questions in the comments and I will be there to help you out. I think I'll just keep the one that's already here. This is fine. I'm not crazy about it. So let me go ahead and go into the page style. In addition to the registration page templates and the thank you page templates, the replay page templates, I really like the fact that in the old version, you could only just add your text and that was it. Like all the text, the font, everything was the same. In this new version, you can actually customize your font, your text, as far as with rich text, if it's bold, italicized, underlined, adding quotes, centering in, left align, all of that. You have more options for how you actually style and format your text, the colors that you're using, how you can customize your layout, adding a footer, adding your logo and icons. So there's way more options for how you can customize the layout of your pages, which is something that I think was nice to see that was added, because it does help when it comes to your conversions throughout the journey of people on your webinar, whether it's when they first sign up or first hit your registration page and they're signing up, whether they're getting to that thank you page and they're wanting to know what happens next, or whether they're actually in your live webinar or they're on the replay page. So I love the fact that now there's all this customization that you can do. It's still limited, but way better than it was last year. So far, so good. It looks like there has been a lot of helpful changes, a lot of positive improvements to Webinarkit over this past year. But let me tell y'all one thing that has not changed, that your girl is not happy about, okay? Remember in my previous video, I told you guys that you have the option to purchase additional add-ons to really just kind of up the ante with your webinars, okay? And one of the add-ons that I did purchase was the chat simulator. And at that time, I was really disappointed because with the chat simulator, it was really kind of basic, and you only had the option to basically add in chat lines one by one. So you manually had to type in the name, the comment, and the timestamp for where that comment should show up. And it was all manual process. So this was one of the things that I really wanted to jump into Webinarkit and see what type of changes and upgrades they had made to the chat simulator. So let's take a look at that right now, because this is what I wanted to see. Here's what I'm talking about with the webinar chat simulator settings. Nothing has really changed from the last time that I did this. When you click on add chat messages, it still just gives you the option to add the name, text, and then a timestamp for where that message will be added. So I'm really surprised that they haven't added where you can upload a CSV file, a text file, so that you can mass load a chat history from a previous webinar session. It has been over a year at this point since I actually purchased Webinarkit. So I'm really surprised that they haven't added this in so that you can upload a previous chat history or something like that. Let's take a look at the emails. And this says automatic confirmation emails, and you can just toggle them on. It looks like it's still the same as it was before, where you have, so this is to turn all on or none. For a confirmation email, you have your 1-day reminder. At least you can customize the text. I still don't see where you can. Oh, you can. Yeah, they now have it. So this is a huge difference than the first time when I reviewed this. Remember before I told you that you couldn't change the headers, so it just had the email subject text where it says like what the webinar you registered starts in 24 hours. But this is actually editable now. So you can actually edit this and create your own email subject lines. I was more than excited to see this changed with the ability to edit email subject lines. This is something that I complained about in the last Webinarkit review video. When it comes to sending out your emails, whether you're sending an email before or after your webinar, that subject line really needs to pique the interest of your email reader, right? That could be the difference between them opening your email and not opening your email, remembering to come to your webinar and not remembering to come to your webinar. Or if it's after your webinar, it could be your post-webinar emails that really gets that person off of the fence and really convinces them that they should buy your offer, okay? So I love the fact that you have the ability to edit your subject lines. One thing that I noticed that has not been changed is the timestamps for when you actually send out your emails. Your pre-webinar emails are still just 24 hours 1 hour and then 30 minutes. I do wish maybe Webinarkit will watch this video. I kind of feel like they watched my previous video, which is why a lot of these changes exist. Like, look at me, little old me is like, I know y'all saw my video, right? Girl's like, girl, your video got 1,000 views. Do you really think that the founders of Webinarkit watched it? I do believe they watched it, because my last video only had 2 dislikes, and I'm pretty sure it was those 2 dislikes were from the co-founders of Webinarkit. I know y'all watch my videos, so if y'all watching my videos, go ahead and make these additional changes. If you guys need like input or insight about like how to really up the ante with Webinarkit and to make it more optimized for sales and conversion so that your customers like me will love you, reach out to your girl. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to give you guys feedback and input on how you can really make this better. And like, if I was an application developer, what I would do to really up the ante with Webinarkit. But anyways, let's get back to these emails. So with Webinarkit, you do have the option to edit the subject lines, but the timestamps are still just based on what is there. So 1 hour before, 1 day before, and then 30 minutes. You can't customize that to say like 15 minutes before if you wanted to. And something that is new is in the old version, you didn't have the option to send post-webinar emails at all. You had to use a third-party email service provider. And in this one, you actually have a space where you can send post-webinar emails based on if someone attended your webinar, they didn't attend your webinar, if they watched a specific percentage of your webinar. I'll try to put up a little thing so you guys can see the different options. And so I think that this is good, but it's still not enough. So when it comes to your post-webinar emails, you are basically sending a sequence, right? A series of emails that are designed to basically bring in more sales after your webinar event ends. And so the way they have their emails structured, it's like you're sending one-off emails. So it's like you can send this email to the people that didn't attend. You can send this email to people who did attend. And then if you want to, you can send to people based on how much of the webinar they watch, right? So you can send an email to watch 25% of it, or 50%, or 75%, or people who watch the whole thing. And that's not really why you're sending your post-webinar emails. You're sending your post-webinar emails for those people who didn't buy on your live event, to say like, hey, this product is really good. Let me show you some social proof of how other people have been able to use this product or service, or results people have gotten that joined this program. And it's also a place for you to kind of like combat the objections that people may have. So if people are on the fence and it's like, well, of course this is going to work for you because you have all these advantages. I'm just a regular smegular person, right? This isn't going to work for me. Your post-webinar sequence can handle those objections that people may have to get them off of the fence and let them know like, no, this will work for you. This is why. Here's some social proof of how it's worked for other people in the past who are just like you. You can also answer any questions that they may have. So that's the purpose of your post-webinar sequence. And so it doesn't make sense to me that it's just like you have the option to send these one-off emails. You want to be able to send emails like, okay, if people open the last email, I can send them this email, or maybe if they didn't see that email, there's this email, right? So you want to have your emails in a sequence that's working together versus just one-off emails here or there based on if people saw your webinar or not, or how much of your webinar that they watch. So hopefully that is making sense. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below in the chat and I will be there to give you clarity. but I would like to see an option where you can actually customize the post webinars based on like a sequence, more so than just kind of the one-off way that it is. But you do still have the option to use a third-party email service provider. Again, I am going to be uploading a instant access on demand workshop about marketing, so I'm not necessarily worried about doing a post sequence, because I'm going to use doing a post sequence in Webinarkit, because I will be using my third-party email service provider, which is ConvertKit, for my follow-up sequence. But that is something that you should keep in mind, okay? So overall, I am very impressed with how much Webinarkit has changed. It has been just over a year, and you guys know when it comes to tech startups, when it comes to applications like this, it's constantly evolving. There's always constant change, upgrades. So that's why in my original video, you know, a lot of people wanted me to like really drag them and be really harsh, but I understood that it was a new application, right? And so there's going to be a journey and a process to really creating something that's world renowned and robust. So in this short period of time, a year is not that long, Webinarkit has made a lot of upgrades, a lot of changes that I am very surprised and also excited about. I will be actually giving Webinarkit a try this time. So I'm going to finish tweaking my marketing on purpose webinar, and I'm going to actually set it up as an instant access on demand webinar and let it run for maybe like a month or so and see how it does. And then if you guys want, let me know. I could come back and do a follow-up video of how it does as an on-demand workshop. And I'll also leave a link down below this video to the actual webinar itself in case you guys want to check it out, see the registration page and all of that jazz for some inspo. I will leave it down in either the description or the pinned comments for you guys to check it out. But let me know, have you tried Webinarkit? What did you think about it? Do you do webinars? Are you new to webinars? Do you have questions about them? Let me know all the tea down in the chat below this video. As always, thank you so much for stopping by my internet home. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys are always telling me like your videos should have millions of views. You know how my videos get to millions of views? When people like you engage with my videos, when you like, when you comment, that lets the algorithm know like more people need to see this video. Is just that good, right? And sharing is caring. Share this video with someone that you know it will be beneficial for, and that's going to help me get those views that y'all keep telling me I should have too. Okay, all right, but anyways, make sure you turn on notifications so you will be the first one to know when I upload a brand new video next week. In the meantime, feel free to check out this Webinarkit review video. This is the one that I did a year ago, as well as this Webinarkit versus EverWebinar, which is the software that I've been using before I even discovered who Webinarkit was. So check those out, or you could check out all of my tech reviews by watching this playlist right here if you are really about that life. Bye y'all, I will see you in the next one.